Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Vegan Curious, a one-woman owned and operated bakery that's out of this world.
Vegan Curious offers baked goods so delicious even meat eaters from Mars won't know they are cruelty-free. Vegan Curious is based out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
For all inquiries and information, go to vegancuriouskitchen.com and follow Vegan Curious on Instagram and Facebook.
Greetings, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends. Welcome to Spoiler Sleepover, part of the Nerdcast Network. Join your hosts, Jason, Michael, and Rob, as they bring you on a slash-tastic adventure through cinema. Now, enjoy the show. It'll be a real scream of a time.
Welcome back, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends to Spoiler Sleepover. I'm Rob.
I'm Jason Michael.
And we're, again, back at it with our personal top threes, and Jason Michael's taking the helm on this one.
Yes.
And it's great because we're going Universal again, still, forever and always, amen. And we're going with my personal favorite Universal monster, which is funny because I've had 2 weeks in a row of my shit. My personal favorites, and we're just jumping in with his personal favorite franchise, and it's my personal favorite Universal monster. I'm amped.
But we are, of course, going to be talking about this week the 1954 classic, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, starting in the space age of the Universal monster movies, or Universal movies as a whole. Of course, before we get to that, Rob, we need to talk about some stuff. What's been keeping you up at night?
Oh, boy. Aside from, like, the huge, I've not been watching too much new, per se, stuff. A bunch of shows that were, we had the big writer's strike and all of that stuff had happened. And a lot of the shows that I love were put on hold, and they're back. So, The Rookie is back. So I've been catching up with The Rookie.
You cannot say a single solitary thing. Because I have promised Zoe I'm not going to watch it until she gets out here. So I've got at least the first half of the season to go through when she gets here.
Yeah, dude, the first episode, you two are going to be like, what the fuck? It is so good. They came back with a literal bang. It is so good. So yeah, The Rookie, The Good Doctor's back. So
isn't that its final season?
Yeah. I'm okay with it being its final season, though. I feel like at this point, there's not many places the show can go. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to spoil the show. There are people out there watching this show. I think it's run its course. I'm excited for this season. I love the show. I love the characters. I love the progression of all these characters, and I'm just hoping they don't do that like fairy tale ending sort of thing. Like, let's wrap up life at this point when your guys are in your 30s in a nice little bow. It's like, no, that's not how this works. Like, at least fix the current issues and then make it a nice ending, but like keep it open. Like, hey, people live their fucking lives. But yeah, it's been great so far. The Connors are back, which I love the Connors because Roseanne is one of my favorite shows of all time. We are restarting Bob's Burgers. I have kind of fell off. I think I'm like 3 or 4 seasons behind, and I haven't watched the movie. So, yeah, my fiance is a huge fan, and we've decided to start the rewatch. So that'll be fun to do. Aside from that, the only actual new thing, and I'm going to suggest for you to watch, and anybody out there, I don't give a shit if you do or don't like anime. If you don't like anime, this is the perfect show to fucking watch. It's new. There are 4 or 5 episodes out right now. I've only watched 4 currently, so I think by the time that this episode drops, the 5th episode should be out. It's on Max. It's called Ninja Kamui.
I've seen pictures for it. I mean, dude, I haven't really thought much about it, but it's in my scrolling past to get to Metalocalypse.
It's brutal. Like, fucking brutal. It is violent as hell. It is gory as hell. It's great. I highly recommend. It's really, really, really good. My brother was actually the one. I added it to my queue because it seemed interesting, but I didn't start it. And then my brother texted me like the day after I added it to my queue. He's like, bro, you need to watch this shit. It's insane. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. And it's good. It's really good. Like really, really good. The first episode, I got misty eyed. It's a really fucked up, sad start to a show, but it's, boy, howdy, is it good.
Jesus.
So, yeah, that's what's been keeping me up at night. What's been keeping you up at night?
I have, of course, recently gotten back from England, and I just miss it entirely. Like, I have never been outside of the country until most recently, and it is fantastic. I highly recommend it to anybody and everybody to travel, try new things, and go to different places. Like, it may seem very normal to people like who live in England, but to somebody who's A, never been out of the country, and B, doesn't travel much, like, people were sitting next to the London Eye going, oh yeah, it's the London Eye, it's a big Ferris wheel. I'm sitting there going, wow, oh wow, yeah. So it's been a lot of getting back to the way things are here, but also just enjoying it because I can't wait to go back already. Other than that, as for shows, of course, I've been getting my monthly watch along to Metalocalypse on. I'm almost done with the 4th season, and I've been back for about 9 days.
Jesus Christ.
And other than that, just catching up on some of the stuff that I missed, like some of the YouTube content that I missed while I was over in England because I was busy all day, so I wasn't actually watching it. But other than that, go see the world, travel different places, try new things, put yourself out of your comfort zone. Yeah, that's all I got for you on that.
Nice.
Let us know what's been keeping you up at night in the comments and on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, we will definitely be shouting people out if you recommend us a cool show or a cool movie. And we will definitely be talking to you on the socials and putting you out there so you can have your experiences with the world as well.
Yeah, buddy. We will. We'll give you a shout out. We'll let you know, like, hey, so-and-so said to watch this, and we did. Or they have terrible taste, and we didn't. Well, now that we know what's been keeping us up at night, I've got a really special... This is going to be a conversation. I said special.
Okay.
I don't mean special. This is going to be a conversation. But we need to jump into a little creeping it real. So, this is, I don't think I've ever said this before, but you have quite a bit.
Uh-oh.
At the time of this recording, just a few days ago.
Oh, yep.
Miramax announced that they are going to be doing a Halloween TV series. They are calling it a hard reboot to the series.
Really?
A hard reboot.
So,
meaning,
nixing 78.
Yes. I read a second, or I can't say second. I read a 4th article because I have read, as of this today, I've read 6 articles written by 6 different companies about this. Most of them have all said it's a hard reboot. One said that it's going to go back to the first movie. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, we went back to the first movie in the most recent trilogy, and it is what it is. I'm going to lean more towards the fact that multiple sources have said it's a hard reboot, that it's going to be a hard reboot. But here's my issue. Well, I have many issues. Halloween fans, hardcore fans.
Yep.
Generally, I don't know. Actually, it's weird. I don't know where you stand on this. Generally, hardcore Halloween fans hate what Rob Zombie did with the first movie by showing Michael as a child and being like, this is how he grew up. This is what he went through. And they're like, fuck that. We don't want that. We just want the shape. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But Rob Zombie's a fucking artist, dude. Like,
he's a storyteller.
So good at it too. And, I love Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I love the second one. I love how cerebral and dream it's like a dream. It's crazy. You get to see things through Michael's eyes in the second one, and I think that's really cool. But if you're hard rebooting Halloween and fans have already shit on a sort of hard reboot being Rob Zombie being here's child Michael, is this gonna work? there's going to be viewership, at least on the first episode. Like, they're going to get a lot of views. There's no way they're not, because us fans are going to be like, all right, let's fucking watch this dumpster fire.
Let's see what happens.
But I just don't see, I don't know. It's weird. I don't understand. I don't think it's necessary to have established horror franchises turned into shows. Chucky is an exception, because this is a continuation story-wise. It's picking up right after the last movie and running with it. And it makes it better. It's gorier than the movies. There's more fucks in it than the movies. The story is expanded. Yeah, he swears more, because they're given an allotted amount of fucks per episode to say. So they're actually able to swear more than they have in any of the movies. And I think it's up to date on the current episodes. Charles Lee Ray has said fuck more times than he has in all of the previous movies. So that's pretty nuts. But that makes sense. This Crystal Lake series that's coming out, where we're going to see child Jason isn't... Yep. What, are we going to watch Pamela be a fucking helicopter mom? Like, who the fuck wants to watch that shit? What are we going to get with Michael? We're going to watch him kill kittens and stomp on toads and burn bugs with a fucking magnifying glass for fucking 12 episodes? Like... What are we doing here? So, okay, I could keep bitching and complaining and making comparisons. What are your thoughts on this? Because it just, I don't know. I didn't see it coming from a mile away.
So I love the Rob Zombie movies. They're terrifying, honestly, because Rob Zombie makes scary shit. He makes really great, down to earth, feeling like it could be a real thing kind of movies. Yeah. Especially with the first one. Like, Tyler Mane, I was scared of him when he was Sabretooth in the X-Men movie in 2000 or 2001, whenever that came out. And when I found out that was the Michael Myers, dude, the guy's like 6'7".
Yeah.
He's tall as shit.
Taller than me.
I was maybe, 12, 15 when this movie came out, and watching it still gave me nightmares as like a teenager, because of this portrayal of Michael Myers is horrifying. It's really good. It's, yes, a little weird being like a giant is Michael Myers, but at the same point, it could make sense. But as for the show part of it, I don't know. I think it's more of a cash grab and more of like, well, now that we have the ability to do this, we're going to do it. It's going to be something brand new. It's giving me kind of like almost Halo vibes, where it's like people will show up for the first episode to be like, oh, wow, maybe this could be really cool. And then it's just something like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then Master Chief takes his fucking helmet off and nobody wants to fucking see that shit.
No.
Yet there's a second season, dude.
So the whole point of the Chief keeping his helmet on is fans can see themselves in the helmet. They can see themselves under the mask. You don't need to know what the fuck he looks like. Yes, there was a little glimpse of his eyes if you finish Halo 4 on Legendary, but at the same point, still completely anonymous, no idea who it is. We don't need a backstory on him. We don't need this is John, the man behind the mask. It's like, who fucking gives a shit? We barely know shit about Din Djarin from The Mandalorian, but I mean, yes, he takes off his mask, but for the most part, he keeps it on because he wants to live by the creed. I don't think there is anywhere good that this Halloween show can go.
No.
I don't think so. Even with Crystal Lake, I don't think there's much that we could see of it unless it's just like its own. We get a little bit of Kid Michael or Kid Jason, and then all of a sudden it's like, bam, this is just what happens on our own Halloween nights and like the future. But I don't know. I don't have high hopes.
No, I don't.
That was a random piece together from everywhere and every single anger and everything. No, but it pieced together.
It makes sense. I watched the first 2 episodes of Halo and noped out. I just Master Chief taking his helmet off pissed me the fuck off. I was just like, there's no fucking reason for this. Like, why? For what?
I've seen the first 2 episodes all the way through because I tried to give it a second chance. Then I tried to give it a third chance to stick with it. I did the same thing for Velma, and yet I finished Velma, and I'm pissed off about it. But
I didn't even finish that shit either. I couldn't.
I gave up halfway through the 3rd episode of Halo, and I haven't gone back with a care in the world. I've seen the final scene of the first season on YouTube. Not many people have understood what I mean by this. Have you seen Meet the Spartans?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you know how badly designed and like just cheesy it looks? It looks like they're on a green screen set or a blue screen set. Yep. That is what the final fight of this season looks like. It looks like it's trapped in Meet the Spartans realm of just like, we're on a blue screen and throw a set right here. It looks like shit. It fucking pisses me off. I'm mad now.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like horror series are stopping. Like, that's the thing.
No.
That we have, as far as I remember, the first two that were announced were Hellraiser, which I'm still waiting for, and I'm personally excited about. The last I had heard, they're focusing the first handful of episodes on each of the Cenobites, which is kind of dope, because they did that with a movie and focused solely on who Pinhead was before he was Pinhead. Most people hate that movie, but it's whatever. I don't give a shit. I love Clive Barker. He's amazing, and he's attached to the show. So how can you hate on having him? Like, if someone had come out and said, "Hey, this Halloween show is John Carpenter written, produced,"
I was gonna say,
good.
If it
fine,
was
great.
done.
If he's writing it. I don't give a fuck who directs it. If John Carpenter's writing it, then this is going to be a good show. But he's not attached. At least not announced yet. He's not attached. So whatever. I mean, we still have this Aliens series that's supposed to be coming out too.
But if John Carpenter only wanted to do one Michael Myers Halloween and then have it be different Halloween stories like he wanted Season of the Witch to be, maybe that's what they're going with. If that's what they're going with, I'm okay with that. It's kind of like Goosebumps and Twilight Zone disjointed shit, whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's all based on Michael, what are you going to do that we haven't seen before? What are you going to do that we just actually care for? I used to care about Part 6 and The Curse of Thorn, but
yeah, and that was my first initial read of the first two articles was, oh, there's this Halloween series coming out, and I was just like, okay, is John Carpenter finally moving forward with doing what his initial idea for the Halloween movies was? Like, are we going to get a creep show sort of show, how like Shudder brought back that and gave us all these short stories? Like, is this what we're getting? Because I'm here for it. Like,
I think basically what we got was Suburban Nightmares,
which wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't.
I mean, I haven't seen it.
It's your stereotypical, person in front of a camera telling their true story and then it being reenacted the entire time. That's what the show is.
I'm not missing much is what you're telling me.
I mean, it's enjoyable for what it is. Am I going to go back and rewatch it? No. If they come up with a second season, am I going to watch it? Yeah. Like, I will. It's easy to put on and play a game on your phone while it's there. Like, you get work done and enjoy a little spooky story that John Carpenter, you hear his voice every episode. How can you say no to hearing John Carpenter's voice every episode? You can't, unless you hate John Carpenter. And then why are you still breathing? Because John Carpenter is God at this point in my life. In
which case, you're wrong.
Yeah. I mean, homeboy over here, Jason Michael's named after fucking Michael Myers, for fuck's sake. Why are you listening to Spoiler Sleepover if you don't like John Carpenter? I don't know. But yeah, I told you this was going to be a rant. I wanted to save this one, and I was like, I don't want to wait to do this. Normally, we would record this the week. So there's a peek behind the curtain again, folks. Normally, our Creeping It Reels, our What's Been Keeping Us Up at Night, and our Earworms, we record the week an episode is dropping. We're not doing that. We're recording everything straight through this time. Literally because of this. I didn't tell Jason Michael ahead of time, but I was like, no, let's do it now because this is so fresh and I wanted a fresh take. I know every other horror podcast under the sun is going to talk about this, and that's fine. I feel like most people are going to be a little more accepting. Us here at the Sleepover, we don't really. We're accepting to all peoples and creeds and walks of life, and we're all about the love. But when it comes down to fucking with our horror, we don't hold our tongues, and we never will. We promise you that. We will always be as real as we can be. So
let us know what you think about this. No, I don't, and I'm ready to put this in the rear view because Jesus Christ, I'm angry already.
Yeah, seriously, folks, hit us up on Instagram or on Facebook. Let us know what your thoughts and feelings are about this this Halloween series. If you want to record something so we can hear the rage in your voice, or towards the series or towards our opinion, record something. We'll drop your audio clip into an episode so that you can be heard here at the sleepover. It's your podcast, folks, so let us know what you're at. But enough of that. Let's get into things that make us happy and make us feel good feelings inside. And let's pull out that thing that's hanging out of your ear right now and jump into some earworms.
This shit again.
Yeah,
well,
buddy.
It's a good thing you brought up the fact that we're recording this and all the way through, because my earworm is actually a album that came out the date before today that we're recording this. It came out March 8th. The newest Ninja Sex Party album, These Nuts. If you have not heard Ninja Sex Party, it is half of the YouTube gaming channel, The Game Grumps. It's Dan Avidan, and he plays the character of Danny Sexbang with his friend Brian, who is Ninja Brian. They've got 11 albums now, and These Nuts is a wonderful addition to the album. I loved hearing These Nuts all yesterday. I got up early in the morning and specifically looked at my phone to see These Nuts in my album library, and I'm making the jokes, yes, on purpose, so don't worry about it. It's a great album. It's a very short, quick album. I mean, a lot of their stuff usually is very quick and jokey and to the point. It's great. I highly recommend the entirety of Ninja Sex Party, but definitely the newest album, These Nuts. Go give them a listen. Listen to These Nuts.
Yeah, I can second that. They're a great band. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
My earworm is also an album that came out a couple of weeks ago. I had been
those nuts.
So excited for this album to come out, and it is Idol's latest album called Tank. It is spelled Tangk. It was, I read so many articles leading up and watched interviews to the album release, and they were like, hey, it's our first album and it's all love songs. It's our first album that is not like politically driven. It's all love songs. And boy, howdy is it. It is fucking fantastic. They almost completely reinvented their sound for this album too. It is really good. It's got this really good like indie rocky pop feel to it.
Okay.
The first song is super slow and not, it's so out of character for them, but lyrically and musically, it's just fucking fantastic. I've lost count at how many times I've re-listened to the album now. It's so good. It's so good. So I absolutely love Idols. They are an amazing group of humans. One of their guitarists is non-binary, and they are a complete fucking character. They wear dresses on stage, and they're all about like, sometimes they just play in their underwear. Like they have,
it's like Flea.
Yeah, they have their own thing going on. They're from the UK also. So nice. Yeah, they have a t-shirt right now for the album that says Love is the Fing, F-I-N-G, because that's how, yeah, they're just fucking fantastic. I absolutely love Idols. So first of all, if you've never heard of Idols, go listen to them. So they have 6 albums, 7 if you include their live album. So Tank is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. So yeah, that's our earworms. Hit us up on Instagram and Facebook. Let us know what your earworms are. Do as Chachi does. Send us pictures of what you're listening to. You've seen us post them. I post
fucking incredible
every single time. Chachi, we're still waiting for your music Instagram page to exist, because that needs to happen. I've given him a few name suggestions for the page already. I will not say them here because I don't want anyone taking them. But yeah, let us know what you're listening to, and we will let the world know. All right, so you mentioned the Game Grumps, wonderful gaming and YouTube community. And so here, seeing as you are a game gamer and I am a casual gamer, I think it's a good time to mention that one of the forefathers, in my opinion, of YouTube and online gaming content have announced that they have come to an end. And Rooster Teeth has closed their doors for good. I know that you are a huge fan, and I was a huge fan for a really long time. I loved the Michael's Rage Quit videos. Those are some of the best. I know that this is a horror podcast, and we do talk a lot of games, and this is not necessarily something we generally would talk about, but I just wanted to bring it up and kind of just say thank you to Rooster Teeth for existing for 21 years, dude.
Yep.
That blows my mind. How are you taking the news?
I mean, I still watch like a lot of the older stuff. But I've more recently just kind of not watched anything because nothing really sparks my interest anymore. And they announced earlier this week that out of nowhere, due to, advertising reasons and things like that, the way the internet is changing and technology is being consumed or entertainment's being consumed, I'm worried for a lot of the people and the personalities because, like, they do great. They're doing great work. And now there's just like 150 to 200 people that are out of a job. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for all of them in the future and hope that they get something similar that helps them in their career. So it's definitely sad. It's definitely something we weren't expecting. But a lot of the stuff is being continuously worked on for the next few months. I think it's sad. It's sad. It's a little creeping it real 2.0, but it's
2.0.
Things happen, unfortunately, in the world of business, and support the people that made the content. The company was great. The company will still be in our minds and such, but it's the people that really matter. So,
from us here at Spoiler Sleepover, we just want to thank you, Rooster Teeth. Thank you for giving us all that entertainment and all that amazing content for 21 years. And we both look forward to seeing what comes of each individual from this point forward. But rest in peace, Rooster Teeth.
So we're moving on into the past. That doesn't make sense, but hey, we're going with it anyway. 1954, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's the space age of the monster movies at this point. Because like this cast, like Richard Carlson, Richard Denning, big name movies of space and monsters like Beyond Tomorrow, It Came from Outer Space, The Creature with the Atom Brain. It's all in this period of time, and the Universal monsters have a space type creature, but still managed to root it in like actual evolution and history. Creature was played by two different people in this movie, Ben Chapman and Rico Browning, which Ben Chapman was like 6'5", so super tall dude, and he plays the land creature. So every time you see the creature walking around, that is Ben Chapman. And every time you see the creature underwater and swimming, that is Rico Browning, because he helped the crew find locations for them to shoot in Florida and like showed them how to swim around it. And they're like, hey, we like how you swim. And he is the one who's swimming around. He had to hold his breath for minutes at end. Sometimes there were air hoses, but not very many air hoses were put down there. So he had to swim holding his breath for like 4 minutes at a time sometimes. And it's insane. He's the only one who played the creature in all three movies because he plays the swimming creature in all three movies. You can tell which suits are whose because Ben Chapman has like the 3 scales on the front. And in order for the suit to fit Rico, they had to take off like one of those chest pieces. So his kind of just looks like a singular split in the chest, where Ben's is like 3-tiered armor almost. It's wicked.
It is awesome.
Yeah. This was also not Jack Pierce, who's been doing all the makeup for previous monster movies. This was Bud Westmore and his team, which they also did the effects for Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So they were a lot more like pieces of makeup instead of like everything pieced together one at a time, which things for Jack Pierce would take a while, where Bud Westmore and his team, it would cut the time practically in half. Much more larger prosthetics that, while changed the look of certain things, also were just easier to put on and more concise. So our movie begins in the beginning. Basically a narration with some underwater effects of like inks or whatever being shot into the water with a syringe and giving that cloudy look. It's basically telling about evolution. You know, the planet was born, creatures started to they started to inhabit the water, and then land started happening. They started walking on land, and it's like years later, here we are down in the Amazon, and we get a scene of a doctor running up to a limestone depository, and there is a hand. A skeletal creature hand coming out of the wall as a fossil, with the first sound of one of the most iconic music trills of the Universal monster movies. I did some extra research. You can hear this music trill for the creature 130 times in this movie.
It's intense, dude.
Yeah, it's the whole rest of the song is awesome too. They use it to portray several different emotions and how you're supposed to feel throughout this movie. It's an awesome theme song.
Yeah, I love the the fact that they show up and his hand is sticking out of the lime deposit. And homeboy just takes a pickaxe to it and he's like hitting the hand and shit. It's supposed to be like this like billion-year-old fossil, and then he just grabs it with his bare hands. It's like,
yeah,
have you never done an excavation before? Like, where are your gloves at? Why aren't you being more gentle? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's the 50s. It's a different time. I mean, they do the same thing like when we meet a few other characters like Mark in a little bit. Mark at the end just picks the fucking thing up. I'm like, what are you doing? What the hell? But they're like, cool. What's his name? Dr. Maia, which, I mean, Lucas pronounced it 14 different ways, so it's really difficult to remember the guy's name. But Dr. Maia basically was like, cool, I'm going to the Institute. You guys stay here. Luis and Tomas, you guys stay here and protect the camp. Don't leave. Someone has to be here the whole time. They're like, cool, we can do that. As we cut over and see the creature hand coming out of the water and then slowly going back. Now, do amphibians regrow limbs? I know reptiles can.
Some. It all depends. Okay. Yeah.
Because the creature is very reptilian, but also he's part fish. He's part mammal. He's very amphibious in nature. I mean, it's also still entirely up to your interpretation.
Yeah, it's like axolotls can regrow their tails and their feet, if I remember correctly. I know 100% they can regrow their tails. I'm pretty sure they can regrow other limbs too. So, yeah. It's interesting. I'm always curious with this movie too, because we never get a straight answer. It's just like, has this creature been alive all that time, or is the creature the last of its kind? Like, you know what I mean?
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
It always has perplexed me because I'm like, all right, you've been alive for 1 billion years. Great. No wonder you have some rage towards people who just can walk on the land and talk and be normal, and you just want to fuck their life up. But if you're the last of your kind, yeah, I guess they're encroaching on your safety zone. So of course you'd be angry. But at the same time, just fucking hide. Bigfoot's been hiding on us for 60 plus years at this point.
That bastard.
It's doing pretty well.
Yeah. I would like to imagine I would like to imagine that he could regrow things. Like, arm came off somehow and he regrew it, but how it's sticking out of that part, I don't know. Either way, we'll talk about that part when we get there in a little bit. Either way, yeah, Dr. Maia
I've always liked to look at the fossilized hand being pulled out of the lime deposit and the creature's rage being like that was a creature's burial zone. Like they just defaced like his grandmother or something like that, and that's why the creature's angry. I always want to
Grandma Gillman.
Yeah, Grandma Gillman. I've always wanted to attach like a backstory to something that doesn't have a backstory, and that's every time I watch it, I'm like, you done fucked up. You shouldn't have touched the burial site. It's like Pet Cemetery. Don't fuck around with shit you don't understand.
We don't go down that road now.
Yeah. That was a good impression.
Thank you. Dr. Maia leaves and he goes to the Institute, which they're in Brazil, so close to the Amazon. And he meets Kay, who's played by Julie Adams, she is fantastic. She has her whole like kind of damsel in distress moments in this movie, but at the same point is also like, fuck you. I will also be with everybody else. I don't need to go lock myself in a cabin. I need to be up here with everybody.
Right.
So we meet Dr. David Reed because there's a whole introduction as he swims up and then adjusts to the pressure. He comes up. He was a former student of Dr. Maia, and he's like, oh, Dr. Carl Maia, Dr. David Reed. And it's like, okay, now we know the people. Love it. Thank you. Move on. They take the boat back to the Institute, and that's where we meet a few other characters. I don't remember the other doctor's name because he just occasionally pops up with some lines and then gets his shit pushed in by the creature later in the movie.
He sure does.
Dr. Mark Williams, he's just an asshole this whole time. And he's basically all about the money, doesn't care about the scientific exploration, but he agrees to fund the expedition that Carl needed. So they go out to the Amazon, and on their way out there, we get a cut back to the tent, into the camp, where at night we get the music trill and Luis and Tomas are sleeping and cleaning their guns, and the creature walks up to the tent, and we start seeing the hands more as they like grab, I believe it's Luis, and basically just murks him, throws him over a bed, and then Tomas tries to attack the creature with a lantern, and then he comes at him more and fucking just murks the both of them. It's terrifying. So Gillman murks two people. We meet Lucas, and he's pretty much the comic relief of this movie, in his boat, the Rita, which is basically like a little fishing boat. Mark hates it because Mark wants something fancier instead of going up the river in the Amazon.
Yeah, and kicks the goddamn boat.
Yeah.
Chillax.
Lucas
Have
just
some respect.
Fucks with them the whole time, too. It's awesome. We see some pretty beautiful B-roll of going down like a swamp in an Amazon river with the gators and such. Basically getting more evolution talk, more science talk of like, yeah, things that are here basically have grown here the entire time. There's like a 9-foot long catfish, anteaters the size of bears. The Amazon is an entirely different world compared to what everybody knows, and it's insane. As they come ashore to the camp, they find out that Luis and Tomas are dead, and Kay almost gets her little feet snacked on by the creature, but she walks away just at the right second, and he's like, you can see his hand or his glove just kind of go, God damn it, son of a... just like folds up and goes, I'll get you next time.
I love that they don't show much. Like, when they walk into the tent, we see the hand, and the hand is just a hand, and it's got a little bit of blood on it.
Yeah.
And it's all like in rigor mortis, but like it's upright. It's
It leaves a lot to the imagination, but these are like some of the first. This one was kind of like old Universal movie kills, but in this movie we get like we watch a murder. Yeah. Yes, Frankenstein has thrown people off of the top of a tower before, but like we don't see that. Later in the movie, we see the creature full on brawl with somebody and send him to his death. Yeah.
Yeah. The creature likes to strangle people.
Seriously. But they start doing work. We see Lucas just chilling with his cigars that he always has as everybody else is breaking apart rock, shifting through the rock, seeing if they can find anything. 8 days go by and they don't find anything. Mark is pissed. David seems optimistic as usual, and he goes, what's at the end of this river? And they go, well, they say it's a lagoon. It's called the Black Lagoon because it's a paradise, except for nobody's ever come back and to tell the tale. And so Mark goes, all right, we're going. And Lucas is like, what the fuck? Did you not just hear what I said? What the fuck? David believes some of the limestone deposit has washed away and eroded over many years and possibly wound up at the end of this river in the lagoon. So they take off, head into the Black Lagoon, and the first scene that we see of the lagoon, it looks so small, yet like it could go on forever. The sets in this movie are incredible. Wherever they went, or whatever they made, the whole thing is like an endless world of its own, and it's awesome.
I like that the lagoon itself, you can't really tell what the depth is, because there are places, there are moments when we get the amazing underwater camera work where you can clearly see the bottom, and then there are other moments where, for example, we go down to the cave, jumping ahead, but it seems like it goes on forever and it's super deep, and you're like, what's the depth of this lagoon? Because we can't tell.
There's several parts where they're on the base. So Mark and David go underwater and they start collecting rock samples, and they're like what you think is on the bottom, which a few feet off to the side, there's a cliff that you can dive down even farther. So they're like on one layer of it, and it's just terrifying, which the creature has helped with a early onset not lycanthropy. That's the wolf man. Yep. A early thalassophobia feeling for me. So the fear of open water. Jaws and the creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Loch Ness Monster for that matter, really helped me as a child to fear the open ocean. Fuck that shit. But as they're swimming around and they're looking for samples, we get the first actual look at the creature. It's very quick. And I didn't realize, I saw it while watching the movie right before we started recording. You can actually see the creature before it's the music trill as he goes in front of the camera. It's where either Mark or David dive down, and for a split second, you could see the creature pop out from behind a rock. Now, whether they meant to keep that in, or it was just like, oh, well, Rico's in the background. Gotta just continue with it anyway. But we see the creature, and he flies up trying to catch whoever's right there. And he basically sits in the background watching them collect their rocks. And then David gets a little bit of plant life off the bottom to bring up to Kay. The whole underwater sequence, and this is just the start. We see a lot more, especially what's about to come up. So David and Mark go back up to the top, and they're like, it's a whole other world down there, blah, 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 blah. And Kay goes, what's it like down there? I'd love to see it. And so while everybody else goes down into the boat to start looking at samples of rocks, Kay takes off her little, almost a bathrobe. We see the infamous bathing suit that was made specifically for Julie Adams and this movie. It was a one-of-a-kind bathing suit, and it's iconic, really.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that was made just for her for this movie. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's an incredible bathing suit. It's an incredible creature suit. Everything made specifically for this is made iconic by this movie. Kay goes swimming in the water, and it's been described as people before as kind of like a sexual scene where I know it's kind of weird, but I understand. It's kind of like thinking when people were like, Dracula is sexual, because exactly, it makes you think. But the creature is swimming, mirroring Julie Adams as she's swimming. And it's like a yin and yang situation. It's like The Shape of Water, pretty much. If you think of that movie, it's kind of taken specifically from this. I mean, the creature is the creature. It's a modern day creature from the Black Lagoon almost.
I've never seen that scene as anything other than the creature stalking and being curious. No,
that's exactly what I'm seeing. But like, I've watched many documentaries where it's like, I think Ray Bradbury, the author, was like, yeah, there was a sexual scene. And it's like, was it though? But I've seen many different things saying like sexual creature, and it's just it's unsettling to read.
Yeah, flat out, I disagree. I don't see that at all. If I want to see a sexual creature, then we're going to watch Shape of Water, which is a fucking great movie. It's a great movie. Dick. It's fucking, fish dick. We never got any fish dick. Still pissed about that. I wanted to see your scaly cock, sir.
Oh, God.
What?
Anyway, we don't see no scaly cock. That's okay. But
that's what she said.
So Kay just sits and treads water for a little bit. The Gillman comes up and tries to be like, hey, what's this? And reaches out and like lightly touches her foot. She goes, oh, something touched me. What's that? While we watch Rico, still underwater, swim away and just sit there for the longest fucking time. Like, there's been a few movies where I've wanted to hold my breath with the certain characters to be like, if I think of Pirates of the Caribbean, I think of that scene in Mission Impossible where it's like, oh, they went underwater. Better hold my breath to see if I can, do that. It's one of those things. But I'm watching this and going, how the fuck is Rico doing this? The man is holding his breath for long shots, physically wriggling his body, exerting his energy, and he's still holding his breath for this long. It's crazy.
Training, man. Training.
Seriously. But Kay starts to swim back because they're like, oh, you're too fucking far out. Get over here. So then, like I said earlier, the music picks up to make you feel different emotions through this movie. It starts seeming foreboding, dark, and just, oh God, something's going to happen to her. So the creature is following. She gets out of the water perfectly fine. The creature gets stuck in the net and starts to wriggle around. Like, oh, pull up the net. Nope, cut it loose because it's breaking the boon. The creature breaks out of the net, leaves behind a toenail or a toe claw, which they take out and go, something's down there. Kay sees it and goes, I wasn't alone. She didn't say it, but the look on her face of, oh God, something was right behind me, pretty much. So they decide, Mark and David decide to go back into the water, try and get a picture of something. Mark brings along a spear gun, and David's like, we're not trying to kill it. or whatever's down there, we're not going to try and kill it. We're just going to try and get evidence and collect evidence. And he's like, well, wouldn't it be cool to, bring back actual proof of something? And he goes, Mark is all about the money and David's all about the science and experiments and trying to understand life and preserve it. Even after the creature has been like, the fact that you see the Gillman when they go down, David tries to take a picture of the thing and Mark just straight up shoots at it with a spear gun and hits it. He hits him right in the chest or in the stomach area, which then he flips over and starts swimming and it's in his lower back. Continuity.
Continuity to my notes.
But Mark shot at the creature unprovoked, and when they get back up top, David is pissed. He's like, why'd you fucking shoot, dude? You weren't attacked? Mark and David are just fighting this entire movie over who's right, who gets money, scientific exploration, blah, 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 blah. It's a whole back and forth that makes you really not like Mark. I get it. The whole point of his character, pretty much.
Yeah, it's easy to not like Mark.
Towards the end, you can kind of like him, which when, he comes to help David, but it's a very quick little thing like, oh, well, I guess that's kind of sad. Anyway, moving on. So they're sitting, waiting around for a while, and then Lucas brings up he's got rotenone, which he uses it's a drug that he drops into the water, and it makes the fish groggy. They come up, and he can fish that way. Doesn't have any other effect. It basically just knocks out the fish. So they think, let's drop some rotenone in the water, see if we can get any of the Gillman. A bunch of fish come up to the water, and they're basically just all floating. And they're like, cool, nothing's fucking happening. Maybe it's not going deep enough. How do we get that to happen? So they make rotenone tablets, or they have rotenone tablets, and they're just dropping it farther into the water and making it sink farther. The creature is like watching it happen, being like, what the hell are all of you doing? And then there's a scene where Kay is smoking a cigarette and she flicks the cigarette into the water, and you see the creature look up like, God damn it, woman, I trusted you. You're out here ruining my environment.
Yeah.
Treat it like a trash can. They tried to develop a picture earlier, the one that David took, but turns out they missed him entirely. And they just get like, what the hell? Well, something is down there, and the creature is actually on the boat walking and takes one of the deckhands into the water. And it's one of the most terrifying lines coming from a guy who's like, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. A demon dragged my brother down into the depths. It's like, oh God. But that's when they find the footprints that are on the deck as well of the creature, who just shuffled onto the boat and took a dude off into the water. So they're waiting for anything to happen. It's nighttime now. There's a groggy creature that starts climbing up one of the ropes, and Julie looks over as she hears his like pig snort, wart noise, whatever, and he just knocks a lantern out of the way. I don't know if you've ever seen it's a gif of every time the creature basically gets pissed off in the first movie. And it's like he knocks off a lantern. He gets a lantern thrown at him. He basically just hits something random. It's like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck this in particular. It's a great gif. Hopefully we can find it and we'll post it. It's really funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he knocks off the lantern and starts swimming away. They get a spotlight on him, and we see our first like actual full look at the creature standing at the little riverbed. And again, you don't know the depths of this lagoon. There's certain points where all of a sudden you can stand up. It looks like you shouldn't be able to, but you could stand up, and then it's a drop off because we see the creature and then he just walks into the water. David and Mark go swim up to the thing and follow, and we find out that's where you can just straight up dive down into this underwater cave. And the cave, while a great set in itself, looks like in the background the painted area, it just looks like it goes on.
Yeah, it's really cool and completely underutilized. Like, we could have spent some time down there previously.
Yeah, there's like 2 scenes in this movie in the cave. It's when Mark and David are down there trying to find out where the creature went. The creature is like having trouble breathing. He's getting a little groggy, and he starts walking out the back of the cave, which is now back up on land. Maybe there's like a dip, and then you go under, and then you swim all the way up to the cave. So it's like off in a mountain or off in the hills somewhere. I don't know. The creature walks out, and I can't remember the other guy's name. The other deckhand and Julie Adams are sitting on the shore, and the creature comes out and is just, we get a pretty cool, quick scene where the creature is just standing far back in the woods, and you see Julie at the front, and it's just standing there staring at her like, okay, that's the girl. Get up the courage to go talk to her. But this is where we start seeing some of the other creature effects, like the breathing and the gills and the whatever the thing that frogs have under their neck is. It's like watching the creature breathe is one of the funniest and coolest things to me because it looks really silly, but it's very scientific.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the mechanics behind it for the era that the film came out is leaps and bounds ahead because you get to see like the air, you don't like, you get to see the air poofing out and stuff like that, like it breathing, the gills move, which is just dope. It's like, how do they do that? And you can't see wires.
1954.
It's really fucking cool. Insane.
Yeah. I mean, the creature is, I don't give the creature enough credit, honestly. I love him. And after rewatching this movie again and again and again, he goes higher on my list every time. The creature is so cool and he's terrifying. He's like really just an environmental activist if you think about it. But
yeah, literally.
He goes up and attacks the deckhand goes at him and attacks him. So he's just defending himself. He's in the right this whole time. And then he picks up Julie and tries to go away with her, but he is drugged at this point. So the Rotenone is hardcore kicking in and he falls to the ground where Mark comes out and starts hitting him with a rifle. Just like, we got him, and gives him one good whack with a rifle. David steps in. It's like, you're going to fucking kill him, you asshole. This upcoming scene I thought about, but they answered it earlier when he's in the trap that they made on the boat and you just see his little creature face floating in the water. I'm sitting there going, why don't you just put more Rotenone in there? Keep him drugged so he doesn't break out like he's inevitably going to. But earlier,
Seriously.
David, earlier when they're like, well, he's drugged. Let's just wait for him to, come back up. And David goes, he might have lungs. The fact that he's able to come up here and walk around, he might have lungs. So if he is knocked out, he's going to drown because he can't breathe. So it was a little, so that's probably why they didn't, have the safety net of the Rotenone in the boat.
Yeah.
They have him in a little cage. His little floating head is really funny to me. The doctor and Kay are up on the boat and just talking like, well, you're upset about Mark and David because you love David. Well, this, that, and the other thing. And the creature breaks out. Like, I've heard enough of this shit and isn't afraid of the lantern that the doctor has and goes and attacks him. Basically rips his face up because he's covered in bandages for the rest of the movie. And Kay then throws a lantern. And it's a pretty decently tracked on shot of a fire mask that kind of sits on his shoulders. It's not the creature's not actually on fire. And you can see a point where the tracked on fire kind of shifts off of his body. But for the most part, the effect is pretty good. So they bandage up the doctor. They bring him downstairs and they're basically like, will he survive? I don't know. Mark is still pretty much at this point like, let's go get him. He's burned. He was drugged. Let's go get him. We can bring this back. And David's like, dude, we're now down 3 people. If he dies, there's going to be 4 dead people. What's it going to take? What is it going to take? Basically, Mark doesn't give a fucking flying shit. Either way. So now David is basically like, we need to leave. Let's get the hell out of here. And Mark is like, we're staying. I am the person who paid for this expedition. We're going to get him. And Lucas is like, nah, I'm going to listen to David. Mark threatens him more. And Lucas pulls a knife on him and just goes, you were saying something? Huh? Just pointing the knife into his chin like, that's what I thought, motherfucker. So David convinces Lucas, we need to get the fuck out of here. And Lucas is all about it. You okay?
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I was hearing a noise through my, because these are like pseudo sound canceling.
Okay.
But I could hear the noise and I was like, it sounds like there's an owl right outside my window.
Ooh.
And then I moved one headphone, and I was like, it sounds like someone screaming.
Oh.
And then I removed both, as you saw, and I was like, now I'm not sure what I'm hearing. And so I went to the window and listened. And what it is 2 dogs barking and a little kid screaming, shut up. So not an owl, technically somebody screaming, and two dogs barking, and the kid just not having it. What the fuck am I hearing right now?
Shut the fuck up! Shut up! Anyway, they attempt to start leaving, and Lucas is piloting the Rita out of there. Everybody else has a gun and is waiting. When they see that there is trees down at the entrance to the lagoon blocking their way out, they hit the boat brakes and slam into the branches that are blocking the entrance to the lagoon. And they're like, well, he kept us here. We know he's still here. He doesn't want us to leave. So Mark is all like, let's fucking go get him. And David is sitting there going, we are fighting for our lives, and you just care about if anybody believes us? What the hell is wrong with you? So they decide to lower the winch in, and David looks around to see if, the creature's out there, and it's eerily silent. The only thing we hear is the putter of the boat and an occasional, water splash. And we know that the creature's out there somewhere, but where? So David hops up, they start to winch the logs out of the way, and we see the creature swim up in a silent shot as he grabs onto the cable, breaks the cable, and they're like, oh, well, that didn't work. Lucas is like, it must have slipped. It's like, no,
it did not, you dumbass.
And then we hear a slam, and it's the creature who broke their rowboat. Basically like, oh, you're fucking going nowhere, motherfucker. So David is like, all right, give me the aqualung. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to try and reattach the cable myself. So Mark is I'll go with you. I'll be bait. And he's like, for fuck's sake, stop. You're not going, you psychopath. And Mark punches him and goes, I'm going. David comes back and punches him in it looks a lot weaker of a punch than what David got. Yeah. But Mark went down like a glass-jawed, money-hungry son of a bitch. And David leaves. David hops in the water. David hops in the water and tries to reattach the cable, and the creature is swimming up on him. And all of a sudden, we get a scene of Mark swimming up with his trusty spear gun and shoots one right past David's head. David also has one of the spear guns basically as defense, but Mark is the one who is actively hunting the creature, and he goes after him. I'm pretty sure he hits him. The creature swims away and pulls the spear out like, you motherfucker. And this is where we get that scene of an actual murder in one of these movies where Mark is up top of the water looking around, and the creature goes up, grabs him, and starts pulling him down farther into the water. The music in this scene is incredible. It's it reminds me of the whole final part of the Wolfman. Mm-hmm. Wolfman's running through the woods, and Claude Rains is running through the woods, and Evelyn Ankers is running through the woods. It's that whole thing. It's a spin on the actual theme song, but it feels more intense.
So I've got a question, because I had to write this note down.
Okay.
Every single time I've watched this, when the creature swims up to Mark to grab him, mm-hmm. The creature's arms are down. The creature's feet are by Mark's head.
Yeah.
Ish, right? but his hands are down, yet Mark is going down with him. The creature's back is against Mark. Did the creature grab Mark with his butt cheeks and drag him down?
So
every single time I watch it, I'm like, dude, he's just strongest glutes on earth. Or the creature from the Black Lagoon. He just slapped them cheeks around Mark and just was like, "You're coming with me, bitch. Let's go."
I don't know what muscles it really takes to swim, but I can imagine he probably has something strong. So the creature goes up and like grabs his leg in a downward motion and like wraps his arm around to bring him down. But like Mark's struggling and wriggling around, and Rico, how he swims in a very like kind of fashion. They're already tangled up in the very next scene. When David swims up and sees them and we see another like pulling down scene, they're already tangled up.
Yeah, it's the initial grab where it doesn't look like he's holding anything. He's just back against him, just glute squeezing onto him super hard and swimming down. Every single time I'm like, I understand it's a movie. And
let's go with that narrative, though.
They're just attached. They're tied together so that they're going down together.
The creature just has a strong ass.
Yeah, it's the creature from the Backdoor Lagoon. Backdoor Lagoon.
Oh. Yeah, nasty.
It probably exists.
Probably. I don't want to look it up. Anyway.
Me neither.
Creature drags Mark down to the bottom or one of the many different locations of bottom in this lagoon, and is rolling around with him. The music's intense, and we see the creature bite one of his air tubes and rip it off. And it looks like it's done in slow motion, but it's like he's moving very slowly, and the music kind of like gets a little spike right there for that moment. It's just an incredible scene altogether.
Oh, yeah.
But the creature eventually lets go, and David, I'm pretty sure, shoots at him again. He's basically like, fuck off, get out of here. So the creature swims away, and Mark floats up to the surface, where now they have to take care of Mark's body because he wanted to be bait. And the creature finally got revenge, and not in the second movie. So now, Dave, this is where the idea of he's like a mosquito comes into play. And David's like, oh my God, yeah, put the rotenone in a little spray gun and we can spray him away like he's a mosquito and just be like, fuck off, you. And they rig that up. David goes under, has to spray the Gillman a few times as he's reattaching the cable to get him out of there. The creature leaves, and they finally are able to actually get the cable around the trees. They start backing it up. As they're backing it up, the creature gets on the boat. We see his whole breathing, his whole frog breath thing again. And this is a weird, I know uncanny valley is going to be the wrong phrase for this, but when Ben Chapman is walking up to the camera as he's going to pick up Julie Adams, he's breathing and doing his whole breathing, and then we could see his tongue. Yeah. It's a cool little effect where you can be like, wow, that's the Gillman's tongue, but I'm just sitting there going, that's Ben Chapman's tongue.
There are a few moments with both actors as the Gillman where you can see not just tongue, but there's moments where you can see teeth and lips, and you're just like, all right, well, there they are. But this moment, I feel like this is intentional.
Yeah, he's very pissed off. He's very hungry. He's like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm taking you. Yeah. And just grabs Kay, brings her into the water. Lucas is about to shoot, and he's like, whoa.
You're going to shoot her.
Hold the fuck on. And then David just immediately hops into the water and starts swimming after Kay and the creature. And in this next scene, when Kay is being carried through the caves, Ben accidentally walked her into one of the sets and bonked her head off the wall. There's a behind the scenes picture where she's getting a little Band-Aid. It was hyped up to be a lot worse than it was. It was just a little bump and she got, the Band-Aid, but there's like knocked her unconscious and, banged her head into the wall. It's just a little, oh fuck. But
yeah, it's not like anyone being thrown through a window in an Abbott and Costello Meets movie or anything.
No.
Good grief.
Yeah. So David is now in the grotto, and this creature coming out of the water and standing up scene, he looks evil. He looks pissed off. Just like, God damn it. Get out of my fucking cave. Leave me alone. House. Get off my yard!
Yeah, that's his house, and the lagoon is his front yard.
Yeah. Man, imagine the property value.
He's living it up. He's living large. He's a millionaire that's a billion years old. A million billionaire.
I wanted to make the joke, but you beat me to it. You son of a bitch. Either way. The creature comes out of the water, starts attacking David, who the creature straight up just takes up the spear gun and throws it against the wall. It's like, fuck that thing in particular. I've already had enough of this shit. I've recognized it. Boom, into the wall it goes. David tries to get him with a rock or his knife, and the creature just picks him up, and you can see the claw marks on the side when he puts him down. But the creature picks him up and then starts getting shot by Lucas and Dr. Maia.
A lot.
Oh yeah. The creature then is like, ow, motherfucker, and starts walking at them. They keep shooting him. And then he's just like, all right, cool. I'm sorry. I yield, and starts walking out. And David's like, whoa. Let him go. He starts
6 times. We shot the creature 6 times.
Oh. Now I want to rewatch it. Oh no. And just count how many times that he was shot in this final scene. Because overall it's way more than 6. This poor creature.
Which is interesting too, because this is something that I pointed out when you and I had seen this in theaters together originally that I thought was cool, was there's a continuity with injuries that the creature receives throughout the movie, including like the spear gun shot, one to the front, one to the back.
The toenail caught in the net, that one, like he's missing it from his foot now.
Right. And then with these ones, I mean, the creature gets shot straight up in the fucking head and it's still walking.
And there's bullet holes, dude.
Yeah, there's not just bullet holes. There's bullet holes with blood or whatever it is coming out of there. Like it's amazing. This last shot is one of those, like, continuity is, it's just crazy, like how they thought so far ahead. Where if you go and watch some of the previous Universal monster movies, there's no fucking continuity. They're just like, yeah, next scene.
The Wolfman was wearing a tank top and walked out into the night wearing a full-blown dress shirt.
Yeah.
He went, oh, I'm underdressed. All right. A little button up, tuck that shirt in, put on my belt. All right, we're good.
It went from the Wolfman to Wolfman.
Yeah.
PhD.
Little tie.
Yeah.
So the creature's leaving the cave, basically like, all right, you win. I'm sorry. He walks into the water and then falls forward, and the last thing we see is the creature floating down to the bottom of the lagoon, presumably dead, until the sequel.
Until the sequel.
Fun fact about the sequel, it ends with this exact scene as well. It is the exact same scene. Spoiler. And that is 1954's The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Our third focused Universal monster movie. We had, of course, The Wolfman and the Invisible Man with the Abbott and Costellos next to it. But there's no Abbott and Costello meet the creature, which is sad, but I'm okay with it because they kind of met him in the advertisement for the Meets Frankenstein. I don't know if you've seen that clip.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So they're doing like a show of the Universal backlot where Abbott and Costello are, getting ready for their movie to come out, and Costello scares the Frankenstein monster who falls into a crate, and then smashed out of an entire other crate is the first actual look at the creature, because they knew the movie was coming out, but nobody knew what he looked like. Right. And then all of a sudden this pops up on stage. People scream in the actual audience being like, what the fuck is that? And that was awesome. The only meeting that Costello had with the creature. But a couple other fun things about this movie, besides the 130 times of musical trills. Did you know that Rico Browning had to use the bathroom during one of the takes? So surprisingly not going in the costume, but I mean, it makes sense. He climbs out of the water after being submerged for several minutes and walks up on a beach where there's a mother and her child just at the beach. And he walks out in full costume, surfacing from the water, and they book it. They're screaming in terror and they run. And Rico's quoted as, and that's it. That's the last I saw of them. I never knew that. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That's
fantastic.
Exactly what I want from this movie.
Oh, man. So I think it goes without saying that our bloody legend of the week is Rico Browning.
I think it deserves a 2-part, honestly. I think it should be Rico and Ben Chapman because of their portrayal of one monster where you can't tell the difference. If you know that one is a land and one is specifically picked for his swimming, they flow together in such a wonderful singular creature to where it's like you can't tell that it's two different people, and they flow it so well together, I think.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no difference in land or water. It's hard. I mean, unless if this was my first time knowing that two different actors had played the creature, then I would have been like, oh, wow, this is crazy. I would have never known. But like, it's amazing. Rico Browning is just amazing. That fact that he wasn't like Kane Hodder. He wasn't just the stunt coordinator. He also was doing the stunts.
Yep.
He's amazing. He is the Kane Hodder of the Universal Monsters universe.
Yeah, so I don't know if I ever told you, but right over on my wall, and we'll post pictures of this on Instagram. When I was a wee little lad, I met Ben Chapman at a horror convention, and I have a bunch of stuff signed by Ben Chapman with like Creature on it and such.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I'll post that on the Instagram, as well as if you didn't know, unfortunately, last year in February, Rico Browning did pass away. Yeah. He was the oldest member of this movie still alive. Previously was with Julie Adams, but Rico was our last monster that was still alive. So unfortunately, rest in peace to Rico Browning. He is going to be missed.
Rico, yeah.
With that being said, out of 10, how many squiggly swimming Gillman would you give this?
Well, that's an easy answer because it is my favorite of the Universal Monsters. So it is a 10. 10 squiggly boys. I love it. Yeah. I love this movie. What about you? Obviously, another easy answer.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely also give this a 10. I'm pretty sure I'm going to give all the Universal Monster movies a 10. But I will say, I still kind of like the second one a little bit more. Revenge of the Creature was honestly my favorite Creature movie growing up as a kid. It's been years since I've watched The Creature Walks Among Us, so I might have to do that again soon, but I still love this movie. It's incredible. He's a monster. And again, I said it last week with our Child's Play 2 episode, teasing this one, the NECA figure of the creature, the detail's incredible. The suit, when you see it close up in the movie, is incredible. That detail is on this figure. So it's great. All these movies rule.
Yeah, they are great. I've only ever watched the second Creature movie once. I don't ever think I've seen the third one. I just love the first one so much. It's one of those like diminishing returns. Do I want to ruin my viewing pleasure of the first movie by these sequels being shit?
Honestly, I don't think any of the sequels are bad. Like,
all right,
people, I mean, a movie is kind of quote bad unquote when it gets an MST 3000 episode.
Yes.
Revenge of the Creature has one, and I finally tracked down a copy that I can watch.
Oh, nice.
Because you couldn't find it anywhere. I had to get a 4-disc box set only for Revenge of the Creature.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Well, smells like bonus content. So
you're damn right.
Creature 2, Electric Boogaloo, and Creature 3, Let's Be Free, or some shit like that. I don't know.
You know it. So Rob.
Yes.
That does bring us to the end of our episode. But before we go, we, of course, have some thank yous to get through. Do you have anybody that you would like to thank this week?
Yes, I do. I'm just going to reiterate my thanks from last week and thank you and your wonderful guest co-hosts, Kristen and Christine, for coming in and doing the first ever February with Friends. This is going to be a returning season thing that we do every February. We're going to do February with Friends. who knows how we'll do it next season. Maybe we'll do alternating episodes. Maybe Jason Michael will step away and I'll run the whole month. We don't know. We haven't figured that out yet. But we're going to do something real special and turn it up to 11 next year for February with friends. And it's going to be awesome.
Going Spinal Tap in this bitch.
Yeah, we're going to just kind of do what Jason Michael did with last month, which was, hey, I've got friends who want to talk these movies. They picked them. He watched them. They talked about them. So next February is going to be the same thing. We're going to let you pick the movies. Tell us what movies you want to talk about. And guess what? We're going to say yes, even if we hate them. I'm looking at you. The devil made me do it. So
never,
which I've never watched because I fucking refuse. I refuse. I won't.
All you have to do is listen. Just listen to the episode and you'll understand. It's okay.
Yep. Oh, and I did. I loved all 4 of the episodes. They were great.
Did you enjoy my first ever rating of a 1?
Yeah. Yeah. It blew my mind. I was just like, whoa.
And then immediately the very next episode is a 10.
Yeah.
The very next 2.
Bananas. So, so thank the 3 of you. Need to always thank my wonderful fiance for supporting me through all of this. Took the month off for big things to happen. February Friends was born because of it. Thank you so much. As always, we've got to thank Anna from Vegan Curious. That's correct. There has been a name change. You've heard it at the beginning of last week's episode, the new ad, and the beginning of this one, and the end of last week's episode. And you'll hear it after we're done rambling on here. But Anna has rebranded, and we love it. She's rebranded to an out-of-the-world vegan baked good company. It's the same good, delicious, amazing, cruelty-free vegan treats, cookies, baked goods you've had before and heard us talk about, just with a new logo and a new name. So, yeah.
The logo's
dope.
Thank
you. The logo is fucking amazing.
I hope she gets stickers.
Dude, seriously.
Or pins. Oh.
Yeah, some enamel pins. Those would look dope as enamel pins. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you.
Pin craze.
Me too. I have so many. Thank you so much, Anna. We appreciate you. You're awesome. Great sponsor. I can't wait to indulge in some more delicious treats like some brookies and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy. Jason Michael.
Yes, sir.
Who the hell do you want to thank?
Who the hell? Well, I'll tell you who the hell. I'll tell you who the hell. You, sir, I would like to thank you, of course, as it goes without saying, being the wonderful other co-host of this wonderful, strange thing that we call a podcast.
Yeah.
It's always fun to revisit these movies and watch new movies, and we got some stuff that's currently in the planning stages that I think everybody's going to love, and these ideas are coming from Rob. So all the wonderful ideas you're going to hear soon are Rob's brainchild, and he comes up with a lot for this show, a lot more than just the social media side of things and being that soothing, pretty voice that you hear on the other end. So thank you, Rob.
Hell yeah. I love
as
it.
Well.
I got a lot of things in my brain.
Yeah, you do.
Let's make them a reality.
Yes, sir. And, of course, as per usual, I got to thank my other better half. Again, the wonderful trip over to England and dealing with a tourist was fantastic. And the pictures of a lot of the stuff I talked about will be on the Instagram. They should already be up there because we talked about it in last week's episode. But visiting Boris Karloff, the Jack the Ripper Museum, Phantom of the Opera, the whole shebang will be on our Instagram for you to go check out. You saw some of it in a story, but it will definitely be up there to stay. So, with that being said,
Jason Michael?
Sir.
What are we doing next week?
Next week, we're going back in time to one of the first Universal Monster movies. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the second one. The second of the big 8. We are going to be watching the 1931 classic, Dracula.
Heck yeah.
I'm very excited to get back to this one because this is a whole different beast of a movie in itself, and for probably not the reasons you're thinking. But we will be talking about Dracula next week with Bela Lugosi, and we're very excited about it. So until next week, friends,
sleep tight, suckers.
I was going to do a creature noise, but that's the best we can get.
Oh, get this. The Gillman has nards!
No!
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spoiler Sleepover. But the fun doesn't stop there. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Spoiler Sleepover. And be sure to check out our website, www.spoilersleepover.com, for more. That would be really fantastic of you. So until next time, sleep tight, suckers.
Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Vegan Curious, a one-woman owned and operated bakery that's out of this world.
Vegan Curious offers baked goods so delicious even meat eaters from Mars won't know they are cruelty-free. Vegan Curious is based out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
For all inquiries and information, go to vegancuriouskitchen.com and follow Vegan Curious on Instagram and Facebook.